Let's try to do a very quick update of today's project. Show one other little interesting difference with our Cooper Road Mini. When we started with this car, much of it was damaged, including the radiator shroud and exit area in the left wing. So on this one we elected to sort of make it more accessible to the radiator, since that's one of the things that's always difficult to get to on these cars. Right now it looks normal. There's the shroud piece. But what we have here that lets us have a little bit more accessibility is this was donated from another, just a little pin there. And you can see that we can simply wobble this whole thing right out. And that gives us wide open access to many things which are usually well hidden. You can see through the headlight opening, we've got the whole front of the engine. We can see our suspension. I actually managed to install the speedometer cable, one of the more difficult things to do in the car by consensus. With the radiator removed thusly, we have wide open access without really having to pull the engine, which a lot of these just make it so much easier to do. Alright, with the moke, we've ended up doing a complete suspension change out, including the joint knuckles under the springs. The springs look good, so we actually got the spring compressor tool here. We compressed that spring, and we took this side apart, and what we ended up with here was a seized up piece and one that had been pounded with a chunk removed previously. I did some attempt to remove this, put it in a vise up here and just wailed on it a bit, but it was not to be, so I'm going to get the set of the high-lows, and that way we'll be able to adjust the ride height for improved handling, since we're going to have a considerable performance package here. We'll have a quick look at what every redneck Mini owner's yard should look like. You can see we got our radiators sitting here. This is a super cool, came out of the mine. That's what looks like an older 3-core that was in the moke. I'm inspecting it to decide if it's worth replacing. And if we look around, we can see the various junk removed from the moke. The old exhaust, the old axles, the old front drum brakes and hubs. And if we keep on panning, we see rainwater. We see our big giant Chevy Blazer in need of some repair also. I'm not talking about the bodywork here yet, but our rear disc brakes had eaten their rotors, and so just a whole slew of projects. We got miscellaneous Mini wheels laying around being cleaned up. We got, of course, the trusty Nissan Xterra, and loop back around our other projects. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to sneak over to Mini Mania, and I'm going to pick up an aluminum radiator because I just think it would look really good in that hole. We'll see how that turns out.